Hey, welcome. Today, we are diving into a silent killer of great projects. We're going to look at a super powerful technique that can save you a ton of wasted time and frustrating rework. So let's just jump right in.
Just let that sink in for a second. Think about all the hours, all the energy, all the passion you pour into a new idea. Now imagine if you could find out right at the start if there was a major problem hiding just under the surface. Well, that's exactly what we're going to talk about today.
All right, so to really get the solution, we first have to understand the problem. And the problem, it almost always starts when we work by ourselves for way too long, totally convinced that we're building on solid ground.
And this is just so true. I mean, you can have the most amazing design, the cleanest code, whatever. But if that core idea, the foundation, is cracked, the whole thing is basically doomed. It's such a common and painful trap, and I think most of us have fallen into it at some point. And when you skip that early check, you get this nasty chain reaction. It might start with just a small gap in your logic or a user flow that's kind of confusing. So to patch it up, you add some extra complexity, but then that causes new problems, which leads to even harder fixes. And before you know it, you're facing a massive, soul-crushing rework. You're basically trying to untangle a giant knot when you could have just straightened out the string in the beginning. This quote just nails the core issue. The further you build on top of that shaky foundation, the more tangled and messy everything gets. It's kind of like trying to fix the plumbing after you've already put up the drywall and painted the walls. Yeah, you can do it, but it's going to be a huge, inefficient mess. Okay, so we've seen the danger. What's the way out? Well, it's not some scary, formal critique. Think of it more like a strategic quality gate, a simple checkpoint to make sure you're actually heading in the right direction from the very start. So let's break this down. First, it's internal. This is a safe space, just with your team or some trusted peers. Second, its purpose is super specific, just to spot gaps, confusing flows, or anything that's missing. And the timing? This is absolutely crucial. It happens before you've sunk a ton of time into development. This is not about judging a finished thing. It's about validating the blueprint. And look at where this fits into the whole workflow. It's right there at step 2. It acts as this critical bridge between your raw idea and all the heavy lifting of development. By putting this check right here, you make sure all the energy you're about to pour into steps 3 and 4 is being spent on an idea that's already been stress tested. And I really love this way of thinking about it. A test, that implies you might pass or fail. But a quality gate, that's a process. It's a mechanism designed to protect the project itself. It makes sure that only the strongest, most coherent ideas get to move forward, which ends up saving everybody a ton of time and energy. Now, this is my favorite part of the whole thing. This process doesn't just make the work better, it actually makes the person doing the work better. It has these amazing benefits for both the project and for you as a creator. So over on the left, you've got the project wins, right? The project gets stronger, simpler, more efficient. That's huge. But for me, the real magic is what happens on the right. As the creator, this process forces you to actually articulate your ideas out loud. And in doing that, you uncover your own blind spots, you strengthen your reasoning. This isn't just about a better project. It's about making you a better, more confident creator. So really, the key thing here is that the simple act of explaining your idea is one of the best ways to understand it yourself. When you have to stand there and tell a colleague why you made a certain choice, you're forced to face your own logic head on. It's an incredible tool for really mastering your craft. But of course, none of this works if you don't have the right mindset. If you go into this feedback check all defensive, you miss out on all the benefits. The whole goal is to be open, to see feedback not as an attack, but as a gift. It's the fuel you need to iterate and make your work better than you ever could on your own. So what's the big takeaway here? It's this. Don't hide your work away until you think it's perfect. Validate the foundation early on. Making a tiny course correction at the beginning is what ensures your entire project grows straight and strong, and it saves you from a really painful collapse later on. And that brings us to one last question for you to take with you. Every single project is built on assumptions. So think about what you're working on right now. What is the one core belief you have about it that you've never really tested? And who could you ask, maybe even today, to just give it a quick look? The answer to that could be the key to everything.